Gentlemen, let me ask you something from the heart. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, thinking about how much your body has changed since you were 20 or 30? Maybe you've noticed erections that don't come as easily, or that quiet, nagging doubt that slips in where confidence used to be rock solid. If you've felt this, let me assure you, you are not alone. Over the years, I've sat across from countless men, hardworking teachers, brave firefighters, powerful CEOs, even decorated war veterans. And do you know what they've all confessed to me in hushed voices? Doc, I'm not the man I used to be. Too often, they blame it all on age. But here's the truth, and it may surprise you. Many times, it's not simply age, it's habits. Quiet, private, deeply personal habits that no one talks about. Habits that slowly, silently retrain your brain and body away from natural strength. Today, I want to break that silence. After more than 30 years in men's health, I'm going to walk you through the 4 hidden mistakes most men make in masturbation that quietly sabotage erections, mistakes that drain blood flow, dull sensitivity, and strip away confidence. But here's the good news. I'll also show you how to fix them naturally, safely, effectively. So if you've been frustrated, if you've wondered whether decline is your destiny, stay with me. Because by the end of this talk, you'll see your story isn't over. It's just waiting to be rewritten. And before we dive in, do me one small favor. If you find value in conversations like this, hit that like button, share this video with a friend who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe to Senior Health After 50. Together, we're building a community of men determined to live stronger, longer, and healthier lives. Mistake number 1, the over-reliance on adult content. Let's be honest, gentlemen, this is the one most men never talk about, the quiet reliance on screens. I'll be clear, the human brain wasn't designed for an endless buffet of novelty, flashing pixels, and high-intensity images at your fingertips. Think about intimacy a few decades ago. It began with a glance across the dinner table, the warmth of a hand brushing against yours, the scent of your partner's perfume. Those natural cues lit up your brain's arousal circuits. But today, many men have trained their brains to react only to digital stimulation, rapid, exaggerated, and unnatural. Now, here's what science tells us. When you repeatedly flood your brain with fast-changing, high-intensity images, your dopamine receptors, the same messengers that drive desire, begin to dull. They start demanding stronger, louder stimulation just to spark the same response. Suddenly, what once excited you in real life doesn't even move the needle. It's not that your body is broken. It's that your brain has been conditioned to crave artificial fireworks instead of real connection. This isn't theory. I've seen it play out in real life. I once worked with a retired mechanic, Mr. Jenkins, who told me intimacy with his wife of 40 years felt like trying to start an engine with no spark. Alone with a screen, he had no trouble. With his wife, he struggled. His marriage nearly collapsed until he unplugged from the screen and retrained his brain. Within 6 weeks, his sensitivity and connection returned. His wife later told me, "Doc, you didn't just help him, you gave us back our marriage." But you don't have to be an everyday man for this to apply. Even public figures aren't immune to the trap of overstimulation. Take former U.S. President Bill Clinton. He's spoken candidly in interviews about how the constant chase for novelty in life, whether through politics, food, or relationships, can rewire the way the brain seeks pleasure. Or look at Tiger Woods, who admitted years ago that his reliance on artificial stimulation in private life nearly destroyed both his health and career. These are powerful, disciplined men, and yet their brains, like yours and mine, are vulnerable to conditioning. The hopeful part? The brain is plastic. That means it can change. Just as you can train your muscles after an injury, you can retrain your arousal circuits. The fix is simple but profound. Step away from the screen. Reconnect with your imagination, with memory, with the real, slower cues of human touch. Think of it like physical therapy for your brain. At first, it may feel awkward, like stretching a stiff joint, but within weeks, sensitivity begins to return. When you turn off the digital noise and allow your brain to breathe again, you rediscover the subtle magic of intimacy. A soft kiss, a familiar scent, a warm laugh. That's when your brain and your body start to work together again, not against each other. Mistake number 2, misusing edging. Edging is one of those techniques that sounds clever on paper. Hold yourself close to climax, back off, then repeat. Men believe it builds control, stamina, even more intense pleasure. And you know what? When practiced wisely, it actually can. But here's the catch. Most men do it wrong, and when they do, it backfires badly. Let me explain. When you constantly push yourself right to the brink and then slam on the brakes, your body gets confused. The nervous system, which is supposed to work in smooth cycles, arousal, climax, recovery, suddenly gets mixed signals. One moment it's redlining at full throttle, the next moment it's screeching to a halt. Do this repeatedly, sometimes for an hour or more, and eventually your system doesn't know whether to finish or freeze. Biologically, this comes with consequences. The pelvic floor muscles, the same ones that help you control erections and ejaculation, become fatigued. Blood flow is held at maximum strain too long, starving erectile tissue of oxygen. Over time, men who misuse edging notice either one of two frustrating outcomes: difficulty finishing at all, or the opposite problem, finishing too soon when they finally allow themselves to climax. Neither supports strong, lasting performance. So what's the solution? Balanced edging. Instead of dancing right on the cliff edge, pull back earlier, before your body hits maximum tension. Think of it as practicing rhythms, not a test of endurance. Use deep breathing, relax your pelvic floor, and keep sessions to 15 to 20 minutes rather than endless marathons. And most importantly, allow yourself a natural release at the end. That's not weakness, it's biology completing the cycle it was designed for. Let me share one more example, this time from someone everyone knows, David Beckham. He's often spoken about how balance was the secret to his longevity in sports. He didn't just push hard, he trained smart, alternating intensity with recovery. The same lesson applies here. If you respect your body's cycles, you don't wear it down, you build it up. Edging done with balance can be powerful. It can teach control, heighten sensitivity, and improve stamina. But misuse it, and it becomes another silent thief of erectile strength. Gentlemen, the key is moderation. Respect your limits, and your body will reward you with vitality instead of dysfunction. Mistake number 3, rushing through it. When you were 20, rushing wasn't a problem. Testosterone was through the roof. Your arteries were flexible, and blood flow surged at the very first spark of arousal. You could finish quickly and bounce right back like nothing happened. But after 50, the landscape changes. Hormones decline, blood vessels stiffen, and nerve endings in the pelvic region don't fire as sharply as they used to. Now here's the problem. If you rush the process in your later years, you don't give your body the time it needs to fully engage. Erections become shallow because the erectile tissue never fills completely with oxygen-rich blood. What does that mean in plain English? You're essentially training your body for weak, short-lived erections because that's what you've practiced. Think of it like cooking. At 25, you could throw a steak in a hot pan and it was still juicy no matter what. At 60, if you rush it, you dry it out. Your body is the same. It needs patience, slower heat, proper circulation. I'll never forget Robert, a 6'8" retired teacher who came to me saying, "Doc, I get there too fast, and it feels like nothing." For decades, he admitted, he rushed through his private time like it was a chore. When I asked why, he said, "Habit. I started doing it quickly when I was younger so no one would walk in, and I never stopped." That lifelong pattern conditioned his body to expect speed instead of depth. Once I taught him to slow down, using deep breathing, relaxing his pelvic floor, focusing on sensation instead of speed, his erections grew firmer and his confidence returned. Even his wife noticed. She told me, "It feels like he's present with me again, not just going through the motions." The fix? Slow down, intentionally. Shift your mindset from getting it over with to giving my body a workout in circulation. As you touch yourself, inhale deeply through your nose, exhale slowly through your mouth. This deep breathing produces nitric oxide, a natural vasodilator that relaxes blood vessels and floods your pelvic tissue with oxygen-rich blood. Relax your muscles instead of tensing them and let arousal build gradually. When you retrain your body to slow down, 3 things happen. 1. Erections become firmer, supported by complete blood flow. 2. Climax feels more powerful because the tissue is fully nourished. 3. You unlearn the destructive habit of speed and replace it with a healthier rhythm. Even athletes have discovered the power of slowing down. LeBron James, for example, has credited yoga and controlled breathing with extending his career. He realized that rushing through workouts and ignoring recovery shortened his performance window, while slowing down actually gave him more strength and endurance. If a world-class athlete needs patience for his body to perform at its best, so do we. Gentlemen, here's the truth. Slowing down isn't just about better sex, it's about better health. Every time you give your body patience, you invest in stronger circulation, richer oxygen delivery, and more satisfying intimacy. Speed may have worked at 20, but after 50, patience is power. Mistake number 4, the death grip. This last mistake is one I hear about quietly, often with embarrassment, the so-called death grip. It happens when men use very tight pressure and fast, repetitive friction during masturbation. In the moment, it feels powerful, even addictive. But over the years, it becomes one of the most damaging habits for erectile health. Here's why. When you constantly grip too tightly, you're compressing blood vessels, irritating delicate nerve endings, and overstimulating the erectile tissue. At first, the nerves fire with intensity, but just like blasting music through cheap headphones at maximum volume, the receptors eventually burn out. Over time, sensitivity dulls. What used to feel electric now feels muted. And it doesn't stop there. The tighter the grip, the more your brain adapts. Before long, you need harsher pressure just to get the same level of arousal. Gentle touch, whether from your partner or even from yourself, barely registers. That's when men find themselves caught in a frustrating cycle. Quick release alone, but struggles with real intimacy. Even powerful, world-renowned figures have warned about the dangers of overstimulation. Prince Harry, in his candid memoir, spoke openly about how modern habits, whether through screens, alcohol, or other extremes, can dull natural joy. He described it as a loss of simple feeling. Though not about this specific habit, the message is the same. When stimulation is too artificial or too intense, the body stops responding to what's natural. The good news? The solution is straightforward. Lighten up. Start by using a gentler touch, even if it feels less exciting at first. Think of it not as losing intensity, but as re-educating your nerves. Just as someone rehabs a sprained ankle with careful movements instead of violent strain, you need to rehab your sensitivity. Add lubrication. It's not a weakness, it's wisdom. Lubrication reduces friction, protects the skin, and promotes healthier blood flow. Change your rhythm, vary your movements, and allow your nerves to wake up again. Within weeks, many men notice stronger erections, fuller sensitivity, and more natural arousal with their partners. Gentlemen, your skin and your nerves are more delicate now than they were 30 years ago. Treat them with respect, and they will reward you. Break the death grip habit, and you'll discover something surprising. You're not losing intensity. You're regaining the natural pleasure that aging and bad habits tried to steal. Bigger picture, beyond the 4 mistakes. Gentlemen, let's take a step back. Erectile dysfunction is not just about sex. It's not just about performance, pleasure, or confidence. At its core, ED is about health, whole body health. You see, the penis is often the first organ to warn you when something is wrong with your circulation. Think of it as your body's check engine light. A weak or unreliable erection may feel like an isolated issue, but in reality, it can be an early signal of deeper problems like heart disease, diabetes, or narrowing of the blood vessels. Why is this? Because erections rely on healthy blood flow. When blood vessels are flexible, clear, and responsive, blood rushes in and stays there. But if your arteries are stiff, clogged, or damaged, the penis is often the first place that shows it, sometimes 10 years before a man has chest pain or a heart attack. In my practice, I've lost count of the times a patient came in embarrassed about sexual performance, and I ordered a heart check. More often than not, we discovered silent blockages, cholesterol narrowing the arteries, high blood pressure damaging the vessel walls, or uncontrolled blood sugar stiffening the small capillaries. Some of those men later told me, "Doc, that bedroom problem probably saved my life." Let me give you an example you'll recognize. Bill Clinton, during his presidency, seemed unstoppable, flying across time zones, working long hours, managing stress. But when he eventually needed emergency heart surgery, doctors pointed out that the warning signs had been there for years. Had his vascular health been monitored earlier, had he taken the check engine light seriously, he could have avoided the crisis. In many men, erectile dysfunction is exactly that kind of early red flag. And this isn't just theory. The Princeton Consensus Conference, a landmark gathering of cardiologists and urologists, declared over 2 decades ago that ED should be considered a marker for underlying cardiovascular disease until proven otherwise. In plain English, if you're having trouble in the bedroom, your doctor should check your heart. Even high-profile athletes have learned this lesson the hard way. Famous soccer legend Diego Maradona was a powerhouse in his youth. But years of poor circulation from lifestyle choices caught up with him, not just in his legs or his lungs, but in his overall health and vitality. The blood vessels that fuel erections are the same ones that fuel your heart, your brain, and every other organ. When one system weakens, the rest follows. That's why when you correct these private habits, stepping away from screens, practicing balanced edging, slowing down, loosening your grip, you're not just restoring intimacy. You're strengthening your vascular system. You're training your arteries to deliver blood more effectively, protecting your heart from future blockages, and reducing your risk of stroke, dementia, and even kidney disease. So gentlemen, I want you to see the bigger picture. Every time you retrain your body away from destructive habits, you're doing more than reclaiming confidence. You're building a stronger heart, sharper brain, and longer life. Your penis isn't just an organ of pleasure, it's a barometer of your vascular health. Pay attention to it, and it will give you clues that may add years, even decades, to your life. Let me leave you with this. You are not broken. Age does not erase your masculinity. What truly matters is how you care for your body, your mind, and your daily habits. Stop leaning on screens. Respect your biology when you practice edging. Slow down, breathe, and let your body circulate freely. Release the death grip and treat your nerves with the care they deserve. When you do this, when you honor your body, instead of fighting against it, you'll be amazed at how quickly things begin to change. Within weeks, many men rediscover firmness, sensitivity, and confidence. But more than that, they rediscover something deeper, a sense of identity, dignity, and joy that no number on a calendar can take away. So here's my challenge to you. Start tonight. Make just one small change. Step away from the screen. Breathe slower. Touch lighter. Over time, those small steps don't just add up to better erections, they build a healthier heart, a sharper brain, and a longer, more fulfilling life. And if this message resonated with you, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to Senior Health After 50, and share it with someone you care about. None of us should have to walk this journey alone. Remember this, your story is not over. In fact, it may be just beginning.